Hey everyone, this is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, so I wanted to make a whole video. I noticed that there aren't a lot of people talking about Asian philosophy on the YouTube space, so I wanted to begin doing that. So the following is a list of books meant to serve as general introductory or beginner books to Asian philosophy. Now, Asian philosophy is so wide-ranging and vast, so this list is really only going to scratch the surface. However, what's great about many of these books is that they will have further reading or related reading lists in the books themselves. This really is just a few recommendations for readings that you could read relatively quickly once through. However, these books aren't just books that you read once. Trust me, they'll stick with you and you may find yourself thinking about them and reading them again and again. The first book is kind of an optional reading if you're interested in the academic and political aspect of Asian philosophy. Taking Back Philosophy, a Multicultural Manifesto, is a book by Bryan van Norden, an American professor of philosophy and translator. This book talks a lot about the problems and consequences of not teaching non-Western philosophies, mostly regarding Asian philosophy. This book addresses a lot of arguments against teaching Asian philosophy and also against teaching philosophy in general. This book is a really great read if you want to learn about the conversation around Asian philosophy in academia and universities. While I wouldn't consider this necessarily a work of Asian philosophy, it's a great foundation and sets the stage for the rest of your reading. I'll also note that Bryan van Norden is an excellent scholar and has written many books on Asian philosophy, many of which I recommend reading. The second book I recommend is the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita means Song of God. It is a Hindu scripture forming part of the grand Mahabharata, an ancient Sanskrit epic. It's a story of a young warrior who doesn't really want to fight at the beginning of a great battle. This book is an introduction to the concept of dharma, or duty, yoga, and the ideas of Brahman. This work is a cornerstone of Hinduism and Asian philosophy, and I would definitely recommend reading it. I've only read it in translation personally, but I can recommend Laurie Patton's translation, which is the Penguin Classics edition. The third book I recommend is The Famous Art of War by Sun Tzu. It's a pretty short work. It's a collection of sayings and aphorisms about military strategy, war, and battles in general. There's also a lot of practical stuff about where to place your troops in a certain environment or something, but you can also apply some stuff to your own individual life. After all, we all have our own struggles and battles sometimes. There's many translations, but I can recommend Thomas Cleary's translation for its accessibility and clarity. It's a good text to read slowly and to sit with. Another book I really enjoy is Readings in Classical Chinese Philosophy by Bryan van Norden and Philip J. Ivanhoe. This book is a longer one since it's an anthology. This includes stuff from Kong-Tzu or Confucius, the Tao Te Ching, and Nature Comes from the Mandate. What I really like is that there are introductions to every section that gives very helpful historical and background context to the reader and helps them see how all the texts connect to each other. This text is a must-read for those interested in Asian philosophy, Confucianism, and its roots. The fifth recommendation I have is An Introduction to Zen Buddhism by D.T. Suzuki. The title is pretty self-explanatory. It's an introduction to Zen Buddhism. This is written by one of the folks who made a significant contribution to bringing Zen and Buddhism as a whole to the West in the 20th century. It's a bit of a denser read, but it's full of insights into every aspect of Zen Buddhism. I was personally especially interested in the way that he describes the lives and the systems of monks in the Zen meditation halls. So this book is a must-read for those interested in Zen Buddhism. The sixth and last book I recommend is The Miracle of Mindfulness by Thich Nhat Hanh. This book is an excellent introduction to mindfulness meditation from one of the most important and influential Buddhist figures in recent history. Thich Nhat Hanh was actually nominated by Martin Luther King Jr. for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1967. Now, this is a shorter book in length, but it's pretty deep and practical. There are specific practices and exercises and thoughts that you can apply to your own life. Maybe it's a bit less philosophically inclined in the sense that it isn't arguing for a certain viewpoint or historical or metaphysical idea, but it is also a great look into what mindfulness meditation is and how it can influence your life. So there you have it, 6 books about Asian philosophy for beginners. As I mentioned, these texts really only scratch the surface. Perhaps you read a few of these and decide that you're really interested in Hinduism or Buddhism or something else, and you want to read more on that subject. Great! Do what works for you, and come away with more knowledge than before. Thanks for watching.